want to give all praises, honor, and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh. The name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. All right, we are the Hebrew Israelites. We come out here week in, week out, let our people, the Negro, Latino, and Native American know who they are according to the Bible, which is the Israelite, man. All right? And show our people what we need to do in order to repent and get right in the good graces of the Most High, man. Right? So give me Deuteronomy 33. Deuteronomy 33 and 4. Hey, Brother Ron, right? Ron, right? So let me ask you something, right? So you an Israelite, right? You believe you a Hebrew Israelite, right?
I just believe, brother.
You just believe?
I just believe, brother. I'm on my own search.
You on your own search, right?
I don't claim religion. That's me.
Well, I ain't asked you about a religion. I'm asking you, you believe you come from the people of the Bible?
Yes.
You do? All right.
Yes,
That's the question I want to ask. So give me this Deuteronomy 33.
Deuteronomy chapter 33, verse 4.
Read.
Moses commanded us a law,
Read.
even the inheritance of the congregation of Jacob.
So you believe you are the descendant of these people.
Right.
Well, your inheritance or your heritage is the law. So if you claim to be these people, you have to keep that law. That's what makes you these people. You see what I'm saying? Right? Go ahead.
Verse 5.
Uh-huh.
And he was king in Jeshurun.
Go back to now. That's all I wanted was 4.
Okay.
Now go to Deuteronomy 4 and 44.
Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 44. And this is the law which Moses set before the children of Israel. These are the testimonies and the statutes and the judgments which Moses spake unto the children of Israel after they came forth out of Egypt.
You see that? So that's what makes you an Israelite, the law. That's your heritage, the law. So you got to keep it. You see what I'm saying? Give me 119 Psalms. Start at 111.
Psalms.
You said, what's the brother saying? What you saying?
No, I'm just going through my little
Okay. I'm with you. Go ahead.
Psalm chapter 119, verse 111.
Read.
Thy testimonies have I taken as a heritage forever.
Thy testimony, that's your heritage. Our heritage is His Bible, starting in Genesis, including the books of Moses, all the way to Revelation. That's our heritage. Read.
For they are the rejoicing of my heart.
That's what you're supposed to rejoice in. The scriptures, right? Read.
I have inclined mine heart to perform thy statutes always.
I have done what?
I have inclined mine heart.
Incline my heart, meaning it's set in your mind that you're going to do what? Read.
To perform thy statutes always.
Perform thy statutes, to keep the law always. Read.
Even unto the end.
Even until the what?
The end.
Until the day you die. You have to incline your heart to keep these laws. Read on.
I hate vain thoughts, but thy law do I love.
See, I hate vain thoughts. Those vain thoughts is what separates our people from the Most High. Those vain thoughts that we do not have to perform the law. Right? Now the blood of who the world calls Christ was shed. Why was it shed? To cover us on the aspects of the law that we cannot perform. Like we was going into yesterday. When your girl finished her menstrual cycle, she's supposed to bring a sacrifice into the temple. She don't do that when she finishes her menstrual cycle. She don't do it, right? So the blood of who the world calls Christ was shed to cover you in situations like that, right? So go ahead. Read all the way to this one again. What is it? You got 111?
I'm at
shit.
114. Verse 114. Thou art my hiding place and my shield.
Down my hiding place and my shield. Read on.
I hope in thy word.
Go ahead.
Depart from me, ye evildoers.
Read on.
For I will keep the commandments of my God.
You see that? Depart, because we got to keep the commandments. So we separate ourselves from the wicked of our people that don't want to keep the commandments. Read on.
Uphold me according to thy word.
Go ahead.
That I may live. And let me not be ashamed of my hope.
Read on.
Hold thou me up, and I shall be safe, and I will have respect unto thy statutes continually.
Again, I will have respect unto thy statutes continually. Right? It'll never stop the respect and the keeping of the law, statutes, commandments we find in the Torah. Read.
Thou hast trodden down all them that err from thy statutes.
You have done what?
Trodden down all them that err from thy statutes.
Give me the sign. Give me that sign. Read it one more time.
Thou hast trodden down all them that err from thy statutes.
This is how he trodden down all them that err from thy statutes. That slavery, all this hell we went through, We got trodden down because we erred from the statute, right? So if we want to get saved out of this, we got to come back to the statute.
That's right.
Right? This is long after Yahweh Shai, 1,600 years after Yahweh Shai, right? And we still got punished for erring against the statute. So read on.
For their deceit is falsehood.
Their deceit is falsehood. What our people are being taught and brought up in is falsehood. That falsehood that breeds irresponsibility. The law brings responsibility. But first and foremost, you have to internalize it. It's got to set forth in your mind before it sets forth in your actions, right? You got to receive it into your mind first before you start putting fringes on your shirt, before you stop eating certain things. You see what I'm saying? It's getting programmed into you, right? Go ahead.
Precept. Isaiah chapter 28, verse 15. Because ye have said, we have made a covenant with death, and with hell are we at agreement. When the overflowing scores shall pass through.
What is the covenant our people made with death? What are the wages of sin? Death. What is sin? Transgression of the law. When our people are dead set in their heart to totally forsake the laws of the Most High, we cool with going into a grave.
Yeah, they're okay with it. It's a light thing for them to just transgress the laws of God. So that means they've made that covenant with death. They're okay with this. You see what I'm saying? They don't want to get out of it. It says when the overflowing scores shall pass through, it shall not come unto us.
That's right. That's what they think. They think nothing's gonna happen. Like a lot of our people don't think anything bad is gonna happen to America.
That's right.
Even though we know it's gonna happen, they think ain't nothing bad gonna happen to us. We gonna be good. America gonna last forever. Read on.
We have made lies our refuge.
Our people make lies their refuge, man. That's the problem. Them lies in the Christian church. What they teach in the Christian church? Don't keep the law.
Hey, because what is a refuge? That's a place of comfort. We're going to comfort ourselves in lies. So that's why we always spewing that. You know what I'm saying? The different scriptures, the rhetoric, the doctrine, to say, hey man, it's okay for us to just transgress the law because we can't do it, or you know, all of the rest of the lines they feed you. This is the same stuff our people feed us, even though we going into the scriptures showing them we gotta keep this law. Now this is the cold part. And under falsehood have we hid ourselves. But when we go back to Psalms 119, what did it say? Psalms 119, verse 114. What did it say? It's a lot. I just had it. Oh, yeah, Psalms 119, 114. Oh, I'm gonna start at 13. I hate vain thoughts, but thy law do I love. Thou art my hiding place and my shield. So instead of hiding ourselves under lies and falsehood, we need to hide ourselves under the laws of God. That's what we need to be hid, according to Psalms 119. So going back to Psalms 119, we were at verse 18. Thou hast trodden down all them that err from thy statutes, for their deceit is falsehood. Thou puttest away all the wicked of the earth like dross. Therefore I love thy testimonies.
Therefore I love thy testimonies. And that's how we got to do. That's the aspect we got to have about the scriptures. We got to love them in totality and follow them. Right, read on.
My flesh trembleth for fear of thee, and I am afraid of thy judgments.
That's right. Afraid of thy judgments. Why will the Most High judge you? Because you broke his law. That's right. That's it on that? You can get that in a second, Maccabee.
Chapter 6, verse 1. Not long after this, the king sent an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart from the laws of their fathers.
So the white man came to compel us to depart from the law of our fathers, just like he does now in the form of the Christian church.
Read. And not to live after the laws of the Most High.
And not to live after the laws of the Most High. That's why Paul and other the apostles were sent in the New Testament to all them cities and Greeks, because our people done fell for it. So they had to be brought back to the law. Just like our people now. We fell for it, so we got to be brought back to the law. Read on.
and to pollute also the temple in Jerusalem, and to call it the temple of Jupiter Olympius.
So they put the god Jupiter in our temple, the temple for Yahweh.
And that in Gerizim of Jupiter, the defender of strangers, as they did desire that dwelt in their place.
Go ahead.
The coming in of the mischief was sore and grievous to the people.
The coming in of the mischief was sore and grievous. It was a harsh oppression that our people were going through, being forced out of our heritage. We got to remember, this is our heritage, read.
Hey, guess what, man? Isn't it a harsh and oppressive thing to be hungry? Hey, man, that could mess with your psyche and your mental. So what do? You get desperate. And what they do, they throw some unlawful meat at you. And you got to make a conscious decision within yourself right now to say, am I going to suffer and starve to death, or am I just going to eat what they give me?
Come.
It says, for the temple was filled with riot and reveling by the Gentiles. Start back from verse 4. For the temple was filled with riot and reveling by the Gentiles, who dallied with harlots, and had to do with women within the circuit of the holy places. And besides that, brought in things that were not lawful.
Read.
The altar also was filled with profane things, which the law forbiddeth. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep the Sabbath days or ancient feasts, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew.
So they forced us out of our heritage, right? Read on.
In that day of the king's birth every month, they were brought by bitter constraint to eat of the sacrifices. And when the feast of Bacchus was kept, the Jews...
On the birthday, right? Even the birthday is against the scripture. Matter of fact, get that in Job 1:45. Because they forced us into all this stuff, right? This was never a part of our original heritage. Excuse me, sir. You good? Go ahead. Go ahead. Oh, okay. Oh, thank you.
Job chapter 1, verse 4. And his sons went and feasted in their houses, everyone his day.
Everyone celebrated his day, his birthday, right? Read.
And sent and called for their 3 sisters to eat and drink with them.
They had a family party, right? Here, come. Go ahead.
And it was so, when the days of their feastings were gone about,
when they did their birthday, read,
that Job sent and sanctified them, and rose up early in the morning and offered burnt offerings according to the number of them all.
So Job offered a sacrifice unto the Most High Yahweh for each and every one of his kids. Why though? Read.
For Job said, it may be that my sons have sinned and cursed the Most High in their hearts.
He said they have sinned and cursed the Most High in their hearts by celebrating their birthdays, right? So the heathens was forcing us out of our customs and indoctrinating us with stuff like the birthday and all that. The stuff that we hold near and dear, go back to that Maccabee. All that stuff we hold near and dear now, Christmas, Easter, birthday, you know, the days that you gotta show up. Damn, it was such and such a little birthday, you ain't gonna come through, it was Easter, you ain't gonna come to church. You see what I'm saying? Why do you feel like that? Because Master, he put that in your mind, and he did it thousands of years ago also. Read.
2 Maccabees 6 and 7. And in the day of the king's birth, every month they were brought to bitter constraint to eat of the sacrifices. It says, and when the feast of Bacchus was kept, the Jews were compelled to go in to go in procession to Bacchus, carrying ivy.
Worshiping the god of Bacchus, which Bacchus, that's Mardi Gras. They was forcing us to partake in Mardi Gras, which now people love, and women take their top off, and everybody do all kind of madness, right? They forced us into all that. Go ahead.
It said, verse 8, moreover, there went out a decree to the neighbor cities of the heathen by the suggestion of Ptolemy against the Jews, that they should observe the same fashions and be partakers of their sacrifices.
Meaning we got to be just like all these other people, you know?
And whoso would not conform themselves,
whoever would not conform themselves to the ways of the white man, read,
to the manner of the Gentiles, should be put to death.
Should be put to death. So they were killing us for not getting down with their program.
That's right.
Read.
Then might a man have seen then might a man have seen the present misery.
It was miserable time. Read on.
For there were 2 women brought who had circumcised their children.
These women had circumcised their children. They wanted us to stop circumcising because that's something that made us different and set us apart from everybody else, the circumcision. So once they seen that these 2 women had circumcised their children, read.
And it says, whom they had openly led around about the city, the babies hanging at their breasts, they cast them down headlong from the wall.
What does that mean? They cast them down and they took them to the top of the wall and they threw the babies and their mothers off the damn wall. simply for circumcision, following the law. That's why we gotta be adamant about following the laws to the best of our abilities now. Because they've been trying to take it from us, and that's what basically us. When we departed from it, that's when we became Gentiles, that's when we became African Americans. Right?
Verse 11, and others that had run together into caves nearby to keep the Sabbath day secretly, being discovered to Philip, were all burned together because they had made a conscience to help themselves.
They were burned for keeping the Sabbath. Read.
For the honor of the most sacred day.
Good going.
Now I beseech those that read this book, that they be not discouraged for these calamities.
That's right. You read about these calamities that occur to our people, you don't be discouraged about it.
That's right. That's right. But that they judge those punishments not to be for destruction, but for a chastising of our nation.
For a chastising of our nation for sins that we may have committed or we did. Read on.
I got a quick precept. This is the book of Hebrews, chapter 12, verse 6. For whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth.
For whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth. So he chastised us through sending these nations against us out of love to get us right. Same way you whip your child ass, right? Read.
And scourgeth every son whom he receiveth. If ye endure chastening, the Most High dealeth with you as with sons.
Read.
For what son is he whom the Father chasteneth not?
Exactly. So he chastises to show us his love for us. Read.
But if ye be without chastisement, whereof are all partakers, then are ye bastards and not sons.
That's right. God. He ain't chastising. He's a bastard. Go ahead.
Go back 2 Maccabees 6:13. For it is a token of his great goodness, when wicked doers are not suffered any long time.
Exactly. When he lets them get away with wickedness until he gives them the ultimate judgment, that they're getting ready to get a white man through thermonuclear fire.
But with punishment. For not as with other nations, whom the Lord patiently forbeareth to punish.
Exactly. That's how he do it. He patiently wait to punish them. Read.
Till they come to a fullness of their sins. So dealeth he with us.
He don't do it like that with us. He's the fire as he needs. Read.
Lest that, being come to the height of sin, afterwards he should take vengeance of us. And therefore he never withdraweth his mercy from us. And though he punished with adversity, yet doeth he never forsake his people.
He never forsake us.
That's
though
right.
He punish us through adversity.
That's right.
So read.
Hey, but how does the Lord not forsake us? How do we know that the Lord hasn't forsaken us? We have to allow ourselves to pass through that fire, pass through that affliction. If we reach that point of adversity and then fold and collapse, how do we know the Most High was ever going to catch us? You see what I'm saying? It's like it's trust. That's where that faith comes from, or comes into play. That trust. If I trust that this brother gonna catch me, and I lean back and I take that step back, I don't trust this brother. How would I know if this brother ever will have my back to catch me? Okay. Verse 17. But let this that we have spoken for a warning unto us, and now will we come to the declaring of the matter in a few words. Eleazar, one of the principal scribes, an aged man, and of a well-favored countenance, was constrained to open his mouth and to eat swine's flesh.
So they grabbed him up. They said, look, eat that pork, right? Read.
But he choosing rather to die gloriously.
That's right. What?
Die gloriously.
Rather than eat pork, you would die gloriously. Now I'm going to tell you what's even told about this. The consummation of pork is a sin, right? To consume pork. But it's not a sin unto death. You see what I'm saying? You're not punished by death for doing this. But he still took that stand. Read on.
It says, but he choosing to rather to die gloriously than to live stained with such an abomination, spit it forth and came of his own accord to the torment, as it behooved him to come, that are resolute to stand out against such things as are not lawful for love of life to be tasted.
You know what? Look up that word resolute for me. I want to see the definition of the word resolute. Because the damn so-called founding fathers of this horrible country will use that word resolute. So let's see what we got to be resolute about. Our decrees, right? Our so-called Declaration of Independence.
That's right.
Which is the law. Go ahead.
Resolute, to firmly resolve or determine, set in purpose or opinion, characterized by firmness or determination.
Firmness and determination. So go back to that.
It says, as it behooved them to come, that are resolute to stand out against such things.
That's right. We are determined to stand out against the breaking of the law.
That's right.
Read.
As are not lawful for the love of life to be tasted, but they that had the charge of that wicked feast, for the old acquaintance they had with the man, taking him aside, besought him to bring flesh of his own provision.
Come here. We just want you to act like you ate pork. We'll give you something that you can eat, that's lawful for you to eat. We just want you to put on the charade. Read.
Such as was lawful for him to use, and to make as if he did eat of the flesh taken from the sacrifice commanded by the king.
Act like. Read.
That in so doing he might be delivered from death, and for the old friendship with them find favor. But he had begun to consider discreetly, and as becoming his age, the excellency of the ancient years, or of his ancient years, and the honor of his gray hair, whereunto he was come, and his most honest education from a child, or rather the holy law made and given by the Most High.
So what's our honest education? Read that again.
It says, and his most honest education from a child, or rather the holy law made and given by the Most High.
That's right. The holy law made and given by the Most High. That's our honest education, man.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Go ahead.
It says, therefore he answered accordingly, and willed them straightly to send him to the grave. For he becometh not our age, said he, in any wise to disassemble,
That's
or
right.
to dissemble.
Go ahead.
Whereby many young persons might think that Eleazar, being 80 years old and 10, were now gone to a strange religion.
That's right. He said, damn, I don't want nobody to think that I don't went and follow the ways of the Greeks. I'd rather die noble, right?
That's right.
With nobility, with honor. Read.
And so they, through mine hypocrisy, and desire to live a little time, and not a moment longer, should be deceived by me, and I get a stain on my old age, and make it abominable. It says,
and so that's the mindset we gotta have. Same exact mindset. Right? We gotta model, when we read about these courageous men in the scriptures, we gotta model ourselves after that, man.
Come.
We gotta model ourselves after that example. Yahweh Shai being the chief, but Eleazar also being one. Right? That's where I got my name from. The story, this is right here. Because that's how noble, how much it stood out to me. Right? That a man would rather die than to let somebody think he ate pork.
That's right.
Because that's how much he stood on
the
the
scripture tells us to abstain from the appearance of evil. So if we can't even be given off the idea that we're committing any sort of wickedness, we have to abstain from that.
Come.
Right? Because we're living examples. All right? We're presenting ourselves as examples for the people, to come back into the ways of the Lord. So going back, it says, for though for the present time I should be delivered from the punishment of men.
Exactly. All people do is fear the eyes or fear the hands of men except for the Most High, who is in control of all of them. He said, I'm not going to just fear what a man going to do to me right now, I'd rather do what the Most High do. Read.
Yet should I not escape the hand of the Almighty, neither alive nor dead.
Neither alive nor dead. Ain't no way to escape the judgment of the Most High.
That's right.
Ain't no way in hell to escape the judgment. Period. And that's what he's saying. So read.
Wherefore now, manfully changing this life, I will show myself
because
such
he
an
would
one.
have been required that he done led the damn nation astray, the whole nation astray. Read.
I will show myself such an one as mine age required.
I'm going to do exactly what I should do as a man of my stature. Read.
It says such an one as mine age requireth, and leaveth a notable example to such as be young to die willingly and courageously for the honorable and the holy law.
He said, I'm going to be an example for these young brothers, man. To stand up and die courageously for the laws of the Most High.
That's right.
That's right.
So read.
It says, and when he had said these words, immediately he went to the torment.
And then when he said the words, they killed this man over there, right? But he died nobly, man. Just like who the world calls Christ, Yahweh Shai, he sacrificed himself, man. Nobly. Read. Knowing he didn't committed error in this situation.
That's right.
So read.
They that led him, changing the goodwill, they bear him a little before into hatred.
That's right. Show pure hatred to that brother. Read.
It says, because the foresaid speeches proceeded as they thought for a desperate mind. But when he was ready to die...
they thought he was going to be desperate. Read.
But when he was ready to die with stripes, he groaned and said, it is manifest unto the Lord that hath the holy knowledge, that whereas I might have been delivered from death, I now endure sore pains in body by being beaten.
That's right. He said they beat him to death. And he's yelling out as he's being beat to death about how he had no problem with doing that nobly and honorably for the laws of the Most High. Read on.
But in soul am I well content to suffer these things because I fear him.
He said, I'm content. Why am I content to suffer these things? Because I actually fear the Most High. Read.
It says, and thus this man died, leaving his death for an example of a noble courage and a memorial of virtue, not only unto young men, but unto all his nation.
That's right. He was an example to the whole nation.
That's right.
To not break those laws.
That's right.
To keep his heritage, right? So that's what all of us have to do, the same thing. We have to follow in them same footsteps.
That's right.
What you about to get?
Psalm 64. No, you good. Go ahead.
Daniel chapter 3 verse 1. Nebuchadnezzar, the king, made an image of gold whose height was 60 cubits and the breadth of 6 cubits. He set it up in the plain of Dura in the province of Babylon.
Read on.
Then Nebuchadnezzar the king sent to gather together the princes, the governors and the captains, the judges, treasurers, counselors, sheriffs, and all rulers of the province, to come to the dedication of the image which Nebuchadnezzar the king set up. The prince, the governors, captains, judges, treasurers, counselors, sheriffs, rulers of the province were gathered together unto the dedication of the image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up.
So he set up an image or an idol, huge idol, statue, tall and set right tall in the damn palm tree, right? Read.
And they stood before the image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Then a herald cried aloud.
A herald, right? We're going to the herald on Friday, right? Go ahead.
To you it is commanded, O people, nations and languages.
All you nations, all you people. That's what Babylon was about. Ruling the world, right? Bringing all peoples together, right? So he said, all you people, read.
It said that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet.
He said, we're going to play the cornet. Right? When we play the cornet, something's going to happen. Read.
The flute, the harp, the sackbut, the psaltery.
They're going to play all these instruments. Read.
And all kinds of music. He fall down.
And all kinds of music.
That's right. He fall down and worship the golden image.
He said, all y'all gonna have to fall down and worship this idol that the Babylonian has created. Read.
Verse 6. And whoso falleth not down and worship shall the same hour be cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Therefore,
so if you don't do it, if you don't bow down to this idol, we're gonna put you in the burning fiery furnace. We're gonna burn you alive.
That's right.
So read.
It says, therefore at that time, when all the people heard the sound of the cornet, the flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and all kinds of music, it says, and all kinds of music, the people, the nations, and the languages fell down and worshiped the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. Wherefore at that time certain Chaldeans came near and accused the Jews. They spake and said to King Nebuchadnezzar,
accuse us for keeping the law. I mean, for keeping the law and not keeping the commandments of men. So this is a contradiction of obey the laws of the land.
Right.
Read.
Thou, O king, hast made a decree.
They made a decree. Read.
That every man that shall hear the sound of the cornet and all kinds of music shall fall down and worship the golden image.
So everybody had to worship that idol, right? That the king of Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar, made at the time. Read.
And whoso falleth not down and worship, that he should be cast into the midst of the fiery furnace.
You in that fiery furnace if you don't do it, right? So read.
There are certain Jews.
He said there's certain Jews, certain Israelites, certain of our people, right? Read.
Whom thou hast set over the affairs of the province of Babylon.
Read on.
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
3 dudes in particular, right? Read on.
These men, O king, have not regarded me.
He said
They
these
serve
men
not
didn't-
thy gods.
These men didn't bow down.
That's right.
Right? So what's going to happen to these men because they ain't bow down? This man going to put them in the fire. Read.
Nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. Then Nebuchadnezzar in his rage and fury commanded to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Then they brought these men before the king. Nebuchadnezzar spake and said unto them, It is true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
He said, is this true? Y'all ain't bow down? Read.
Do not ye serve my gods, nor worship the golden image which I have set up.
Read on.
Now if ye be ready, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the image which I made.
Read.
It says, but if you worship not, ye shall be cast that same hour into the midst of the burning fiery furnace.
So Nebuchadnezzar said, we're going to give them another chance. We're going to try this one more again and see if they don't bow. Read.
And who is that God that shall deliver you out of my
And he
hands?
said, who the hell going to deliver you?
That's right.
He's getting proud and puffed up. Even though the Lord the one set him up as a power,
That's right.
gave him a dream. Daniel broke down his dream. He still started feeling himself. Because in his dream, what did Daniel tell him? He said, the rest of that image that comes after you, the golden head, is going to be inferior to you. Because the Medo-Persian Empire was inferior to the Babylonian, then the Greek, then the Roman. Right? So read.
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter.
He said, we're not careful. What does that mean, we're not careful? I'm not going to spare your feelings, my nigga. I don't care if you're the king.
That's right.
If it be so, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us
said,
from the
"Look,
burning fiery furnace."
Throw me in the fire. I got faith in the Most High God.
That's right.
He going to deliver me out of it. I ain't worried about it. 3 minutes.
That's right.
And he will deliver us out of thine hand, O king.
That's right. Go ahead.
But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods.
He said, look, and if God don't deliver us, nigga, I still ain't going to
That's
serve
right.
your God.
That's right.
Burn me up. Read.
Nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. Then Nebuchadnezzar, full of fury, and the form of his visage was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
That's right.
Therefore he spake and commanded that they should heat the furnace 7 times more than it was wont to be heated.
He said, we was heated at 300 Fahrenheit, put that mug to 2100 Fahrenheit.
That's right.
Read. He said, we're going to come in. Here they were trying to turn our brothers into damn Hershey chocolate syrup.
That's right.
Okay? Read.
And he commanded the most mighty men that were in the army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego,
Bound them up. Read.
and to cast them into the burning fiery furnace. Then these men were bound in their coats, their hose and their hats,
Read.
and other garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace.
Go ahead.
But therefore, because the king's commandment was so urgent, and the furnace exceeding hot, the flame of the fire slew those men that took up
The
Shadrach, Meshach, and
actual
Abednego.
guys that they commissioned to go and put the men in the fire, they got burnt up. Read.
That's right. It says, then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonished,
Read.
and rose up in haste,
Read.
and spake, and said unto the counselors, Did not we cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire?
He said we cast 3 men into the midst of the fire. Right now, watch. Read.
They answered and said unto the king, True, O king.
They said it's 3 men. Yeah, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Read.
He answered and said, Lo, I see 4 men loose,
He said it's 4 men loose.
walking.
Who is this 4th man that came into that fire? That's who the world called Christ. He came to save and deliver them brothers out of that fire.
That's right.
And this is all representative because now we in a modern day Babylon. And it's going to get turned into a fiery furnace. And 1/3 of the nation of Israel is going to be saved out of this place by Yahweh Shai. You see that? So read.
Walking in the midst of the fire,
Go ahead.
and they have no hurt.
And they have no hurt. They walking around in fire, chilling. Like it's all good. Read.
And the form of the 4th is like the Son of the Most
He said
High.
it looked like the Son of the Most High is in the damn fire right now, right? So read.
Then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace and spake and said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, ye servants of the Most High God.
You are servants of the Most High.
That's right. Come forth and come hither.
See, Nebuchadnezzar had to keep falling on his damn head all the
That's
time.
right. That's right.
He'll reverence the Most High. He'll go against the Most High, get proud and puffed up. Then the Most High will show us him. He throw Daniel in the lion's den. Daniel in the lion's den chilling. You see what I'm saying? Throw these men in the fire. They in the fire chilling. Damn, I messed up. When you read in the Apocrypha, you got Bel and the dragon, same situation. So read.
Came forth of the midst of the fire, and the princes, governors, captains, the king's counselors, being gathered together, saw these men, upon whose body the fire had no power, nor was a hair of their head singed. were their coats changed, nor the smell of fire had passed on them.
They didn't even smell like smoke. Go ahead.
Then Nebuchadnezzar spake and blessed and said, Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who had sent his angel and delivered his servants that trusted in him.
That's right. Sent his angel and delivered his servants that trusted in him. So the key thing is to keep the law. We seen Eleazar, he didn't eat the swine. We seen Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He refused to bow to the idols of Babylon. And this is what we have to do. We have to refuse to partake in the ways of these heathens, man. All right? And the Most High will work with us. And those that do that are the ones that the Most High is going to send his only begotten Son, Christ Yahushua, to deliver. When we come back unto our heritage and we forsake all the false heritage and doctrine and blasphemy pumped out by these nations, specifically and chiefly the so-called white. So, hold on real quick. This brother got a question? You got any questions, Doc?
Nah, I'm just listening to y'all, man. I'm happy you guys are out here, though. You know what I'm saying? I've been looking for y'all to come on out here, man. It took a long time for y'all to get here.
Man. See, it's funny, man, because we from San Diego. Yeah. It's dudes that live in the area that don't be coming out. They be going, somewhere else.
Is that right? I think I see you guys got something on YouTube, don't you?
Yeah.
I done seen you a couple times.
Okay, yeah. We on YouTube.
I'm looking at Sarnata Television.
Yeah, Sarnata TV. Yeah.
And then I see y'all might pop up under a couple links and stuff.
Yeah. On the related videos. Yeah. We out of San Diego, but we link up with a few brothers up here. So now we start coming out here because they need the word out here. You see what I'm saying?
That's real good.
So we gotta spread this truth.
I mean, what you guys got? What kind of word y'all got for for these cats out in the streets though? Like, you know what I mean? We ain't too much on the Bible. You understand what I'm saying though? But I understand y'all got that unity. You want to make a good movement. It's got to be where y'all can reach them.
Well, yeah. Well, that's the thing. You got to be able to walk them back to the Bible because all of us come from the streets.
Yeah.
Matter of fact,
but what about the angry ones? You know what I'm saying?
What I'm saying. You just have to learn how to change. Give me 1 Timothy 1 and 12.
You know what I'm saying? What about the angry ones? They trying to hear that, and all we see is like police brutality. You know what I'm saying? Unemployment, this and that.
But it's all in the Bible. This is what I got to do. Holla at you. I got to talk to you about everything that's wrong in the community, right? We gonna agree on all of it. Then I'm gonna show it to you in the Bible.
But you gonna come with a solution though?
Of course we got solutions.
Okay.
The first and foremost solution is to come back to our heritage, the law, statute, commandment. Because that's what the first thing that we need to stop doing is what? Hating each other.
Right. Okay.
That's the number one thing we have to stop doing.
Okay.
So that's in the law. You cannot hate your brother.
Okay.
Right? We got to stop pimping our women out. That's another thing we got to stop. All these things is in the law. We can't fix the white man. There's no fixing him. He's done.
All right. Say we change all that. Now, which way do we go from there?
So you got to listen.
You see what I'm saying? Where did the money come in? You see what I'm saying?
See, but now all this civil, financial, economics, it's in
See, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, because that's what they need to hear. Because we got a corner right here. This is a black neighborhood, right?
That's right.
It's owned by the Japanese. You see what I'm saying? So we don't have nothing here, even though we still got to check in with them, walking out our door in our own neighborhood. You see what I'm saying? Exactly. So we got to somehow create something for like jobs and economics. So that's the solution we're looking for. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, that's part of the solution. But money ain't always the solution,
well,
right?
We just say crime is because of money.
Yeah, they say that, but think about it, right? We got our people that get money all the time. What do? They get the fuck away from their people. Bye, nigga. I'm out of here. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So what instead we got to do, which we do have to get and earn our wage out here, right? Because we got to pay for these things. We got to feed our kids. We got to house ourselves, clothe ourselves, all that. But what we got to do is we got to start taking our stuff back, right? Like you said, the Japanese own all this. Because we're not taught to buy a business. We're taught to go get a goddamn job as opposed to buying a business.
You
see what I'm saying? So if we're going to deal with the economic stuff, you may start on a small level. Doing small level things where you self-employed, we got our own businesses. And then that could transition into, okay, boom, now China Express, that's ours now. You see what I'm saying? We selling our own food out of there. We selling healthier food out of there. You see what I'm saying? So, but it all got to start with us coming back into these laws because the Lord has given us a heritage and a system. A system that we can follow that could produce immediate results.
Exactly.
Because the so-called Jewish man,
but you know,
he got rich, right?
Right.
How did the so-called Jewish man get rich? From hijacking the laws.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? That's what he uses. And they get their money. You see what I'm saying? And they do business with each other first and foremost. They dollar exchanges hands in their community about 19 times before it leaves. If we start having that mindset, then we can see the economic change. But first, it's got to come individual change, individual spiritual change that will basically, what's the word I'm looking for? Basically, it will manifest into the world. You see what I'm saying? But we gotta change within, our mind gotta change. Because if I can't change, every time I walk down the street, I see you, I'm looking at you, I want to kill you, I got a problem with you, I haven't changed. Then nothing I do is ever gonna be shit because I got this mindset. You see what I'm saying? So that's what we gotta do. We gotta teach, we gotta love each other.
Yeah, see, exactly. See, but like homie said, but the white folks, they start off early. See, you gotta have programs young for the youth, you understand? Because see, right now, we have Obama, we can go for, he ain't making change, but they got somebody right in line each year. You understand? We got hopes and shit that come every 20 years.
Yeah.
So we gotta start off with the kids. You know what I'm saying? So how are we gonna be like, say, like I'm 48 years old, right? I'm gonna live 48 years to come to an understanding of how they doing me, right? I probably got upset with the Bible, so I've been living behind it and still in the same position, right?
Of course.
Okay, but how do I get a child that's in a special school? I get all the knowledge, but see, wake up to my child straight to the same school that taught me, take them back 50 more years.
And that's one of the things, and that's one of the things we have to do too.
Amongst ourselves.
We gotta start worried about homeschooling. That's something that I was just
no,
talking to
but
a
see,
brother
that's
about.
what organization y'all gotta push. Y'all got to little non-profit. Y'all got to start, you know what I'm saying? Start with the babies. Then we can look really like of elegance. We teach a child all the way how to vote, how to go all the way up, so we'll have people in line.
Exactly.
You understand?
Yeah,
Vote, make a change, and then that's to stop crime, a whole lot of shit.
Because the kids ain't growing up.
Gang banging started because we don't have no control of the neighborhood, and then we got everybody following in. You know what I'm saying? It's mine, it's mine, it's mine. It's five, you understand?
And also but this is also one of the things why the reason the gang banging started. Because what are we looking for? We're looking for an identity. We don't know who we are. We've been given some ambiguous identity. African American, that's a big ass continent over there. Yeah. And they don't call themselves African. Right. They got tribes. Right. We don't got tribes. So you look at your damn street and you say, well, this is gonna be my tribe. We're gonna ride and we're gonna kill the niggas from over here.
They spunk, you understand?
It happened because it happened. It happened as a result of the oppression. You see, of the products of our environment.
There you go.
But now we gotta take it because at the end of the day, its initial thought is positive.
Right.
It spun off into something else. The initial thought is positive. So we got to go back to that initial thought and be able to hone that into something positive. And how we gonna do that is through the tenets that we see in the scriptures, not through the scriptures from the lens of the Christian church that they gave us. White man, just do this, do that, love everybody. That's bullshit. The Bible speaks about killing people and all kinds of stuff, right? The Bible say the Lord is a man of war. We the Lord's people. That's why you see niggas going to war out here. You see what I'm saying? So when we come into that understanding, we take a look at the scripture, what it's really telling us to do. This is when we're able to apply it to your life and then see the change. And then the change go in you, then you pass it to the next brother. Then it's a community thing. You know what I'm saying? But our people just don't want to take the time to be disciplined. That's the problem we got. This white man that made us undisciplined, where niggas hate any type of structure, order, discipline, any of that. So we got to get out of that. But like you said, brothers and shit in the street, that's how I was. You see what I'm saying? But once I heard some shit that just made total sense,
no, it makes sense. But after we hear this, we go back to the same thing.
See, that's what we can't do. You see what I'm saying? We got to make the immediate changes. You see what I'm saying? And if you don't make the immediate changes, you're just gonna be a nigga with no knowledge, and it's still nowhere. You see what I'm saying? And that's not the point of acquiring knowledge. Is not to get nowhere with it. It's to advance yourself, right? You see what I'm saying? So we got to advance ourselves, advance our brothers, advance the community, advance our people.
But we got to go with economics, man.
Economics is a key part of it. You see what I'm saying?
Because
we have to get there.
Because once we get a job, you can't even talk about unions and UBT and jobs like that, anything like that. You understand?
They're gonna shut it down.
They're gonna shut it down. So you gotta be owners out here, and y'all got to push that. We're gonna do it. We gotta talk with groups, though. Like I ain't got nothing against the Nation of Islam or Mahad, believe in Mahad, or you know, Israelites, nothing like that. But as long as y'all got a net, grab a gang, and then have a big speaker. You understand what I'm saying? Like you can have a family, y'all got different jobs, but you bring your money back to the table.
Yeah, exactly.
You understand what I'm saying? So that's how y'all got to do that thing. Get your folks, hey man, and welcome, because you want knowledge. A lot of people hear different things. You different part of town, see different type of shit. So you hear different shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like this right here, this man talking this, but they're all on positive mode. You know, so you bring it all back to the table. Then you talk to them as a group. You see what I'm saying? That's how you make a movement go. You know what I'm saying? But
Yes, sir.
that's all. That's what I'm on, though. Yeah. But I got y'all hookups though, man.
Yeah.
I'm about to, I got this like this little, it's growth and development youth spring.
Okay.
And what I'm trying to do it's like a lot of these young people, like all these different they really want to change because there's a lot of kids who want to change.
Yeah, that's all I hear.
You understand what I'm saying? So, I mean, I know all of them. You got to get involved. You understand?
Because that's another thing too, which I always, because sometimes we be out here and be some washed up old nigga that want to come against. I said, nigga, it's your fault. You have a right to young niggas. It's your fault. You start selling dope and doing all this shit because you didn't give us anything.
Right. Exactly.
So we all got to take responsibility.
But you also know that we all fit in the category. Some man they gonna get caught with drugs, disease. You understand what I'm saying? All that. So you got to be smart. Ain't got nets set out for you out here. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the scripture say, he said, my people are all bulls caught in nets.
Right. So they have them out here for you. So at the same time, we got to reach them so they can recognize that.
That's right. You got to relate. We have to relate.
Right. You don't tell them that. You know what I'm saying? They gonna fall. You know what I mean? Like you see, they got your daughter going out there to raise, but you don't tell about that what's happening out there. You understand what I'm saying?
Romans chapter 2, verse 13. For not the hearers of the law are just before the Most High, but the doers of the law shall be justified. James chapter 1, verse 22. But be ye doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving your own selves. So as the brother just said that walk by, man, we got to be able to hear these things, hear the laws, hear the plan, you know what I mean, and then take action. Not to turn around and return back to our own vomit, as the scriptures speak about. Okay? We gotta be able to put this thing in motion. See Ezekiel chapter 33, verse 31. It says, and they come unto thee as the people cometh, and they sit before thee as my people. And they hear thy words, but they will not do them. But with their mouth they show much love, but their heart goeth after their covetousness. So we could come out here and break it down to our people clear as day as to how the so-called white man's a goddamn devil, how there's a system and a plan and snares and nets set up against us so that we won't fall.
That's right.
For them to turn around and agree with us, and as soon as they leave, they go and start to participate and fall into those traps. The scriptures speak about our people being a stiff-necked people. Now on top of that, you have a lot of our people just still so caught up into money. Which ain't nothing wrong with money of having things of value that you can trade. But our people want to sit up here and take over a neighborhood to still be subject to payments. To still be subject to taxes. To still be subject to property tax. You know, you got to pay for this. You got to rent this out. You got to do this. How are we going to own something under the umbrella of America? We want to get from up under the umbrella of America. And that's why we...
America's getting ready to be destroyed.
And that, I was about to say, and that's why we sit up here and we pray and we make supplications to the Most High to bring a speedy destruction to this place.
Come.
We want this place to fall, okay? So that we can then be resurrected. As long as this place is living and going and prospering, we ain't gonna never get it back. We want this place to fall. So we gonna set up businesses on what is this, Baseline and and Waterman, and we still gonna be sitting there just building up the economy, making the neighborhoods good. So then what's gonna happen? Gentrification comes in. Then they find some way to get
good. The white man just gonna come right back to San Bernardino
exactly.
Resurface. You know?
Exactly. Wherever they see value, man, they gonna come in and with they crooked, unjust laws, they gonna find some way to come in and slide back in and take it back from them. So we don't want to give them that opportunity. All right? But going back, Daniel chapter 3, verse 29. Therefore I make a decree that every people, nation, and language which speak anything amiss against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be cut in pieces, and their houses shall be made a dunghill, because there is no other God. There is no other God that can deliver after this sort.
So here go this ever-changing, double-minded Nebuchadnezzar again. Now, if you speak anything against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego,
right.
I'm going to kill your ass.
That's right.
Which he would later go on to still speak words. Go ahead.
Then the king promoted.
That's why the Lord sent the Medo-Persian.
That's right. Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of Babylon.
He promoted them and gave them high ranking status. Right?
Done.
So read.
That's it.
Give me Psalm 61 and 5. Hold on, brother.
Get what?
Psalm 61 and 5.
Psalm chapter 61, verse 5. For thou, O Yahweh, hast heard my vows. Thou hast given me the heritage of those that fear thy name.
That's right, that heritage, man. Going back to the law, statutes, commandments. That's our heritage, right? So the heritage of those that fear the name of the Most High Yahweh. That's the heritage that we got. So we praise Him for that. Give me Psalm 95. 95. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Hebrews 4.
Hebrews 4. Which? Go to Hebrews 4.
That's what I'm stuck in.
Okay. See if we can't give you some clarification.
Hebrews chapter 4, verse 1. Let us therefore fear, lest a promise being left us of entering into his rest, any of you should seem to come short of.
Go ahead.
For unto us was the gospel preached, as well as unto thee. But the word preached did not profit them, not being mixed with faith in them that heard it. For we which have believed do enter into rest, as he said, as I have sworn in my wrath, if they shall enter into my rest, although the works were finished from the foundation of the world. For he spake in a certain place of the 7th day on this wise, and the Most High did rest 7 days from all his works. And in this place again, if they shall enter into my rest, seeing therefore it remaineth that some must enter therein, and they to whom it was first preached enter not in because of unbelief.
Exactly, because of unbelief, right? Read.
Again, he limited a certain
now, real
day.
quick, what does that mean that they didn't enter in because of unbelief? Because they didn't really believe in the Most High. They didn't really believe in Himself, right? So go ahead.
Again, he limited.
So they weren't really keeping the law. What were they doing? They was wearing their border blue. They was wearing their fringes, right? When you see them, it looked like they're keeping the law, right? But in all actuality, they weren't. Because when you because when you don't see them, they being wicked as hell. You see what I'm saying? Hey, like your brother said. Hey, no, it's all good. Because that's true. You also have another group, right? Israel United, right? Israel United in Christ. Now they got, hey, you see them, they fringe down, they look good and all that. But when your leader is bearing false witness on Israelites and locking them up for 11 months' time for crimes they ain't commit, you look like you keep the law, you look like the most righteous nigga on earth, right? But what are you then doing to Israelites? You locking them, you bearing false witness with his hand. Christian will tell you that is wrong, right? So go ahead.
He limited a certain day, saying in David, today, after so long a time, as it is said, today, if ye will hear his voice, harden not your hearts.
Go ahead.
For if Yahweh had given them rest, then would ye not afterward have spoken of another day. There remaineth therefore a rest to the people of God. For he that entereth into his rest, he also hath ceased from his own works, as the Most High did from his. Let us labor therefore to enter into that rest, lest any man fall after the same example of unbelief.
Let us labor to enter into that rest, right? What is the labor we got to do to enter into that rest? Let's go to James 2.
I'm well, thank you. I will.
That's right.
So go ahead.
James 2.
James 2, let's start at what, about 18, 19? We're going to see what the labor is you got to do the rest. Read.
James chapter 2, verse 18.
Read.
Yea, a man may say, thou hast faith.
Right? So you have to have the faith, right? Read.
And I have works.
I have works. One may argue they have all the faith and belief. One may argue they got all the works, right? Read.
Show me thy faith without thy works.
Show me thy faith without thy works. Read.
And I will show thee my faith by my works.
That's the labor to enter into the rest. The works. The works of the keeping of the law, statutes, commandments. And eventually, the brothers, once you get on a level, come out here and teach is also a part of the works. Because when you read in Deuteronomy 18, it said a prophet shall come, right? That we're talking about when you go call Christ, right? So he said you shall hear and you listen to all of his words. When he came, he said you got to go into the streets and teach. So that's a part of the laws also. You see what I'm saying? So we got to understand that.
God.
So once we understand that, we notice what we got to do. We notice the goal. The goal is to come into the truth, start getting right, you know, making yourself righteous, keeping the laws, walking this walk of righteousness to this path, you know, attain the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to where you want to level where you can come out home and teach your people, you know, and then we label in this. And this is how we enter into the rest, meaning we get deliverance, we get salvation, right? So read.
And remember we were speaking about balance earlier. Everything is about balance. So you got the work side of it, which some would say is a carnal aspect, or the worldly aspect. Then you have the faith, which is a spiritual aspect. You got to be operating perfectly in balance. Okay? Exactly. Exactly.
You got a lot of people, right? Like your brother said, a body without a spirit, right?
Body without a spirit is a dead body.
Now look, you got this doctrine real quick. It's a little bit off topic, right? This clone topic, right? People talk about this clone, like that running around. But where is the clone getting the spirit from? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
The clone ain't got no spirit. That's how you know that. These people are just demonic. They're zombies. You see zombies all the time. You see the crackhead? He's a zombie. He do. Blood gang in churches.
Yeah.
I got some change. You know what I'm saying? You think you're a zombie. Right? You know what I'm saying? When these people see my little brother bugged out and went crazy, smoking dope. You see him, he's a whole different dude. Like the brother, this brother, when he came to get me this morning to come up here, he seen him. He said this dude looked like a whole different person. You see what I'm saying? He went crazy, right? Because he's a zombie. The mind ain't there. There don't need to be no clone. You need a clone when the white man ain't been in crack. You see what I'm saying? Or this microchip that he's putting out, right? Because that shit is vibrations dealing with the MK Ultra. Now they got the birth control microchip that they pushing out. It's all part of the market of these technology. So they got the birth control microchip that is just going to try to give license to hold it. A girl can have a remote control now. She can put the microchip in her, and her will, before she lay down with you, if you're not the type of nigga she want to have kids with, or she just want to have a one-night stand with you, she can cut it on or cut it off at her will. That's disgusting.
That's wickedness, man.
And that's the beast. You see what I'm saying? And that's his mark. That he's putting his plan into you, character, that he's engraving into you.
He wants to be like the Most High.
That's right. He wants to be able to say whether a baby is born. Don't it say the Most High kill and make us alive?
Right.
Now the white man can do it to you, and you dead if you got that chip in you.
Yeah.
That's what people gotta understand. That's how we know it's the mark of the beast, is the microchip.
And about what's it called, about the Obamacare, which he gonna take over after he leave office. That's all based on, you know, medical.
Yeah.
So they talk about you gonna be plagued if you get that chip. It's because they the ones who gonna be plaguing you. They gonna be injecting that shit in you.
Because the white man, the powers that be, the elites, they're not stupid. To be in power, they're not stupid, right? There are various ways that they are stupid because they can't beat the Most High. But they aren't stupid, right? I'm gonna show you how they're not stupid, right? You had something called goddamn Ebola last year, or like 2 years ago, right? Yeah. But in Africa, they said the only people that got Ebola was the niggas that got the shot.
Red Cross.
Right? It was Red Cross. So it wasn't an epidemic. Epidemic is spread with no contagion. The white man's not gonna put an epidemic out that he can't control. Right. So he's just gonna say, okay, everybody I give the shot to, that's who's gonna get hit. That's what's gonna happen. Now, everybody I give the chip to, these are the ones I'm gonna be able to control. But if I can't control you, if I can't contain you at my will, then I'm gonna kill you. You're expendable now. We're gonna put you in the guillotine. That's why they got the guillotine. That's why they got the mass grave. Time with Justin Timberlake. When everybody just had 25 years on this shit. So everybody looked young. You see what I'm saying? Everybody had 25 years, and that was currency. So that's the white man showing you the technology he's trying to implement, and he's been showing it to you. Yes. Goody Mob had a damn video. I forget what's that damn video called, man. Man, nah. It's man, I forget what the video's called. You said what?
Cell therapy?
Maybe cell therapy. Where at the end, they're going up into the little liquor store, and everybody's getting their bread. Everybody got to scan their hand. Come on, every time. That was, you said what? No, I'm talking about Goody Mob. It's a Goody Mob music video.
That video, that no video.
You see what I'm saying? It might be so different, it might not be. I forget the brother put me on, I watched, it's crazy.
Pharaoh, he got the little pyramid.
Yeah, of course I see that. I seen that. I watched that video. I seen that.
He said, so
they got Israelites
seeing when I be in some shit like that.
They got Israelites. So
and they got the arm seeing out behind them in the video.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? But go ahead. Give me, that was it on Hebrew 4? Give me Psalm 95 and shit.
Book of Psalms, chapter 95, verse 10. 40 years long was I grieved with this generation, and said, it is a people that do err in their heart,
Read.
and they have not known my ways.
That's our people's problem. We don't know the ways of the Most High. We constantly err in our heart, man. We got to come back and stop grieving the Most High so damn much. Jeremiah 2:48.
Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 4. Hear ye the word of the Lord, O house of Jacob,
Read.
and all the families of the house of Israel. Thus saith the Lord, what iniquity have your fathers found in me?
What iniquity, right? This is the problem, right? Our people act like God did something wrong to them. He said, what iniquity have your fathers found in me? Read on.
That they are gone far from me, and have walked after vanity, and are become vain.
Our people became vain. What the hell did the Most High do that was so bad that we forsook him? He did nothing. Here was the fraud.
Neither say they, where is the Lord that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, that led us through the wilderness?
Our people ain't even thinking about that. So read.
Through the land of deserts and of pits, through a land of drought and of the shadow of death, through a land that no man passed through and where no man dwelt. And I brought you into a plentiful country to eat the fruit thereof and the goodness thereof. But when ye enter, ye defile my land and made mine heritage an abomination.
Enter, you defiled my land and made my heritage an abomination.
That's right.
We made the Lord's land abominable. Well, how do we do that? Through forsaking his laws, committing all them sins, worshiping all them idols. So now we're doing the same damn thing and we expect different results. That's the definition of insanity. We got to start keeping these laws. Read.
Verse 8, the priest said not, where is the Lord? And they that handle the law knew me not.
Our people didn't give a damn. The priests still don't give a damn.
That's right.
We go down to the Isle of Haiti, them niggas is down there doing all kind of goddamn voodoo and Catholicism, and Lord knows whatever. They're not handling the law. So read.
The pastors also transgressed against me.
Our leaders are transgressing every damn day, even in Israel.
That's right.
So read.
And the prophets prophesied by Baal.
You see that? By Baal, man. They prophesying lies out here. False divination by false deities. Read.
And walk after things that do not profit.
That's right. Walk after things that do not profit. When they teach you in the Christian church not to keep the laws of the Most High, that's a thing that does not profit. Right? So give me Jeremiah 17 and 4.
Jeremiah chapter 17 verse 4. And thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee.
Thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage. And that's what we did. Our heritage, as we proved earlier, is what? The law, statutes, and commandments. So when we stop following the law, statutes, and commandments, what do? We discontinue from the heritage of the Most High.
That's right.
We volunteered to do that. Right? Read.
And I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not.
And I will cause thee to serve thy enemies in the land which thou knowest not. So because we discontinued from our heritage, we were called to serve our enemies. Then they made us discontinue our heritage even further. How did they do that? We all seen roots, right? Your name ain't Kunta Kinte, your name is Toby. You see that? So read.
For ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever.
We made the Most High mad, but how do we make the Most High mad? From walking away from that law, right? That was it on 4. Let me get Deuteronomy 28 and 15. Let's prove that how we made the Most High mad, how we made him burn as a fire, right? In anger towards us, in fervent anger towards us, right? So read.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 15.
Read.
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy power,
We don't listen to the Most High. Read.
to observe to do all his commandments
To keep the law. Read.
and his statutes, which I command thee this day,
Read on.
that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
This is what happened. We forsook that law. We didn't hearken to do all the laws, statutes, and commandments. So we're here now. Right? So let me get a book of Ruth. Why not select this? Like, today at Ruth 2, 1 to 2. That's what we did, man. That's what our people are still doing. Forsaking the laws. And then wonder why we getting gunned down and all this madness is happening. Forsaking the laws. So read.
Book of Baruch, chapter 2, verse 1. Therefore the Lord hath made good his word.
The Lord has done what?
Made good his word,
Read.
which he pronounced against us. And against
Go ahead.
and against our judges. And it said, and against our judges that judge Israel,
Read.
and against our kings, and against our princes.
He made good this word. How did he do it? You looking at it. This how he made good the word that he said he was going to do to us. He said he was going to do all of this to us. And it happened, right? We here, right? We madness. We in total madness out here. Spinning. We walking like we blind when it's damn broad daylight out, right? Like it's dark. On a spiritual level. Why? All because we forsook the laws of God. So read.
And against the men of Israel and Judah,
Read.
to bring upon us great plagues, such as never happened under the whole heaven, as it came to pass in Jerusalem, according to the things that were written, and according to the things that were written in the law of Moses. That was 2.
And it was according to the things that was written in the law of Moses. What was written in the law of Moses? Deuteronomy the 28th chapter. All them curses from verse 15 all the way down to 68. That was written. And that happened. And it happened over and over again every time we mess up. So skip to 3 and read 8 to 9. Yeah.
Baruch chapter 3 verse 8. Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity.
We are what?
Yet this day in our
We
captivity.
are yet this day in our captivity. Right now, we're in captivity. This is nothing but a damn prison camp for us, right? So read.
But thou hast scattered us for a reproach
For a reproach. Read.
and a curse,
And the curse. Read.
and to be subject to
What
payments.
does that mean, a reproach? Niggas, spicks, all that, that's a reproach, right? And we subject to payments. We paying for the sins of our forefathers. We also paying all these bills, right? Water, electric, rent, goddamn gas, every damn thing, right? So read.
And to be subject to payments.
To be what?
Subject to payments.
Subject to payments. You gotta pay bills, right? You subject to payments, read.
According to all the iniquities of our fathers.
According to what?
All our iniquities of our
What
fathers.
is iniquity? Sin, breaking of the law. So why are we in this position? We're breaking of the law. So coming out of this position is going to be keeping the law. But also not just keeping the law by the letter, but really believing and having the faith. That's the aspect niggas be forgetting. Faith without works is dead, just like works without faith is dead.
That's right.
Without that balance, you're abominable.
That's right.
All balance is an abomination. Right? So read.
Which departed from the Lord our power.
That's what happened. We departed. How do you depart from God? Is he standing on the street corner, you walk to the next block? No, you stop following the laws. That's how you depart from the Most High. All right, so give me Psalm 89. Read 30 to 32.
Psalms chapter 89, verse 30.
Read.
If his children forsake my law and walk not in my judgments, if they break my statutes and keep not my commandments,
Which is what we did, what we still damn doing, right? Read.
then will I visit their transgression.
Then will I do what?
Visit their
So we
transgression.
got visited in transatlantic slave trade.
Right.
We got visited in American goddamn conquest, right? We getting visited still every damn day. The police is hopping out on you, shooting you down, beating your ass. When your own brothers chasing your ass down, shooting you in the head, selling you crack, pimping out your daughter.
That's right.
Read.
With the rod and their iniquity with stripes.
Read on.
Verse 33. Nevertheless, my loving kindness will I not utterly take from him.
So the Most High love us as a people. So he said he's not going to utterly take from us his loving kindness. Read.
Nor suffer my faithfulness to fail. My covenant will I not break.
Covenant will I not break. He's got an everlasting perpetual covenant with the nation of Israel, Black, Hispanic, and Native American. So he will not break that. Read.
Nor alter the thing that is gone out of my lips.
So he said, he done said he going to give us the kingdom. He said we're going to dwell in safety. So he said he's not going to change his word. He was Jeremiah 4:22.
right. Jeremiah chapter 4, verse 22. For my people is foolish. They have not known me.
That's our people's problem. We foolish. We not knowing the Most High. We don't give a damn about knowing the Most High. We'd rather know the white God known as crack cocaine. Or is it spiritual crack? Which is this white boy right here. Spiritual crack. Read.
They are sottish children.
They are sottish, meaning stupid, right? Read.
And they have none understanding.
And they don't know a damn thing. So we gotta come out here, we gotta teach their ass, right? If they don't want to listen, that's too damn bad.
Right.
I can't make you listen. Read.
They are wise to do evil.
They are wise to do evil. Nigga will tell you, listen, you got an 8 ball? All right, well look, we're gonna do a little bit of this, we're gonna do a little bit of that. We stretch this into a 9 piece, man. Messing around, right? Read.
But to do good, they have no knowledge.
But we have no knowledge to do good. We have no knowledge to go into the damn Jack in the Box and say, no, don't put no bacon on my set. Just something simple as that. We have no knowledge to say, no, I don't want to do no dope. Right? Read.
That was it on 22.
Give me a slide.
Psalms chapter 34, verse 14. Depart from evil and do good. Seek peace and pursue it.
Read that again.
Psalm 34, verse 14. Depart from evil and do good. Seek peace and pursue it.
That's right. Do good. What is good? Give me Proverbs. What is good? You know what good is? Anybody know what good is? Any of y'all know what good is? What is the good we supposed to do? There we go.
Okay, that's right, that's right.
Let's prove it. It's Proverbs 4 and 2.
Proverbs chapter 4, verse 2.
Read.
For I give you good
I
doctrine.
give you good doctrine. What's the good doctrine? Read.
Forsake ye not my law.
Law, right? That's the good doctrine. So that's what we got. That's how you do good. So go back to that in Psalm. Read.
Psalm chapter 34, verse 14. Depart from evil and do good.
Depart from evil and do good. So we got to keep the law. Right? Read.
Seek peace.
Seek peace. You're not seeking peace if you're not doing good. Because ain't no peace going to come to the wicked. Read.
And pursue it.
And pursue it. We got to pursue peace. How are we going to pursue the peace? We got to be pursuing the kingdom. We can't be pursuing the kingdom being wicked. So give me Psalm. Say in Psalm, what is 37 and 27?
Psalm chapter 37, verse 27.
Read.
It says, depart from evil and do good.
Depart from evil and do good. Read on.
And dwell forevermore.
You will dwell forevermore. That's right. Simply depart from evil and do good. Stop being a dope dealer. Stop being a murderer. Stop being a whore. And just be a righteous person. Read. That's on that. Give me Tobit 12 and 4.
It's the book of Tobit, chapter 12, verse 7.
Read.
It is good to keep close the secret of a king, but it is honorable to reveal the works of the Most High God.
See, it's honorable to reveal those works. And the works of the Lord will all keep. They don't want to reveal the works of the Lord. They want to conceal the works of the Lord and just talk about how good everybody feels. And sing songs and get their heart lifted up. That's all that's about. Pass the collection plate, right? So read.
Do that which is good,
Do that which is good. Read on.
and no evil shall touch you.
No evil shall touch you if you do that which is good. Right? So all kind of madness is happening to our people every day.
That's right.
Evil is touching and pursuing our people every day. But why? Because we don't do what's good. So read.
That's right. That was it.
That was on that first Timothy. First Timothy 6 and 18. 18 and 19.
1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 18.
Read.
That they do good, that they be rich in good works.
That they do good, that they be rich in good works. Rich in the keeping the commandments. Read.
Ready
And
to
not only just the keeping the commandments, well, because the charity aspect, right? Being charitable towards one another, that's part of the law.
That's right.
So read.
ready to distribute, willing to communicate,
Ready to distribute and willing to communicate. Read.
laying up in store for themselves a good foundation.
That's right, because when you do all these things, this is how you're in the pursuit of peace.
That's That's right.
Because you are laying up in store for yourselves a good foundation, meaning you're earning your ticket into the kingdom of heaven. You know?
Against the time to come, that they may
the evil time, the time of judgment, right? Read.
That they may lay hold on eternal life.
That they may lay hold on eternal life. And you can't lay hold on eternal life being a wicked nigga, man. Not keeping commandments. You're not gonna lay hold on them. Total disregard of the law, you ain't gonna be a part of the elect. That's crazy, right? Give me Hebrews. Book of Hebrews 13:15.
Hebrews chapter 13, verse 15.
Read.
By him, therefore, let us offer the sacrifice of praise to the Most High continually.
That's right. Let us offer the sacrifice of praise unto the Most High continually. You know?
That is the fruit of our lips, giving thanks to his name.
That's right. Giving thanks unto the name of the Most High God Yahweh. All right. We do so in the name of Yahweh Shai. Continually.
That's right.
That's it on that? Okay, so now, let me get I need Sirach to make it.
The book of Sirach, chapter 43, verse 30. When ye glorify the Lord, exalt him as much as ye can.
That's right. When you glorify the Lord, exalt him as much as you can. Another thing our people don't do is give exalt and praise to the Lord.
That's right.
Our people too busy exalting and praising their damn self all day. Right?
That's right.
Worshiping their damn self. Read.
That's right.
For even yet will he far exceed.
He will far exceed, meaning you can never praise him enough. Read.
And when ye exalt him, put forth all your strength.
Put forth all your strength. Read.
And be not weary, for ye can never go far enough.
You can never go far enough. You can never praise the Most High enough. You can never do enough. So do all that you can and know it's not going to be enough.
That's right.
Which means what? You need something to cover you, right? And that's where the blood of the world called Christ